Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. Listen, people, I just got to keep it real right now. And doesn't matter how much I like these fighters I'm going to talk about. We just have to put things in perspective, okay? So, first of all, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. It helps me out because you don't make any money doing this YouTube thing probably until you get to about 100,000 subscribers, and you're still not rich. So if you like boxing, you like a conversation, this is the channel for you. Now listen, Deontay, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Andy Ruiz, these guys are really starting to come off like fighters who feel entitled to something that, look, man, they just don't deserve. Okay? Now, I'm just telling you, right? If you have a fighter who is inactive due to something beyond their control, right? That's different. That's different. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think anyone can disagree with me. Matter of fact, in this instance, I'm going to tell you, I feel I'm entitled to my own facts. Because Deontay has chosen not to fight. He's chosen not to stay active. That's his choice. Now remember, I'm a Deontay fan. But I don't want to hear this stuff about he's inactive because Eddie Hearn and they played Deontay he's inactive because the Saudis were out here the whole time and never had any real plans on having him fight. This is a case of the secret society trying to derail Deontay in his career because they saw how he hurt Tyson Fury, although he lost. They saw that he was a real threat. And he went against Helenius, and they saw how he tranquilized Helenius. And now, as much as people like to see knockouts, there's a conspiracy to keep Deontay out the ring and know that he's already up there in age and hope with another couple of years they can kind of age him out, force him to retire. Or when someone does get in the ring with him, he's not that much of a threat. To that, I got to say, hold your horses. And stop taking it to the stupid. Let me tell you something. Deontay he's got to fight, man. I understand Deontay from listening to him. Look, he is must-see TV, right? That's a fact. I don't care if you like Deontay if you don't like him, you got to give that man credit for being must-see TV. Very simple. You know, if Deontay gets in that ring, it's just like Mike Tyson back in the day. You know one thing. When they get in that ring, it's just a matter of time. When is the big punch gonna land? Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, I'm not making that up. That's what we all sitting there waiting for. When is he gonna drop the boom? But this is the sad thing about it. You got a guy like Deontay. I'm not even gonna get into all the crap from years ago when he and AJ didn't make a fight. I'm honestly gonna put. I'm gonna put a lot of the blame on Eddie Hearn, the Zone, and AJ's side. Because during that period, right? During that period, they were very, I would say, very into themselves. Anthony Joshua was kind of on top of the world, very marketable, selling out stadiums, was a unified champion. And when they went to try to make the fight with Deontay hey, there's all kind of, hey, Deontay ducked the fight. AJ and the Zone, they didn't make a fair offer. Oh, you know, hey, well Deontay and his team came up with the money, and AJ didn't want the fight, and you know, oh well, AJ and his team wanted to give Wilder a flat rate, but they didn't want to disclose what he was making. So as a result, guys playing games, poor communication, and a bit of stubbornness and pride, and then we didn't get any fight. But bottom line is, when you kind of look back on it, maybe Deontay Wilder felt like, you know what, maybe he feels like maybe I should have taken it. Maybe he feels like, nah, I shouldn't have taken it because they weren't treating me fairly. But you fast forward to where we are now, I tell you what, Deontay Wilder is here kind of ending up in a situation trying to make a fight with Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn and DAZN all over again, and it still can't get the fight off the ground this time. And this time, I don't think it has anything to do really with Eddie Hearn and AJ. I think it has everything to do with whatever is going on over there with Saudi Arabia and the leadership change in sports and whatever they're trying to do with boxing and, you know, kind of tweaking their vision. But the bottom line is Deontay Wilder sat at the ring a long time. Now you look at with him and his expectations for money. Look, my understanding with Deontay Wilder when he fought Helenius, it's sad because he should have had, you would think he'd be selling out like 1 million, 2 million pay-per-views, you know what I'm saying? And pay-per-view numbers. He just doesn't do that. My understanding, he didn't even do 100,000, right? Also, my understanding is this is what people need to pay attention to. If this is true, Deontay Wilder, no matter what in regards to how his fight performs, pay-per-view wise, live gate wise, tickets and all that, let me tell you something. My understanding is Wilder gets a guarantee no matter what. And I was told a guarantee of somewhere between like 15 and 20 million. Now, I don't know how true that is. But him getting a guarantee, maybe that much, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you this. There's no promoter out here that's in the business of losing money. Now, if that's the case, well, hell, he might as well hook up with Warren Buffett because, you know, some people believe Warren Buffett put up that $50 million for Crawford and Spence, and he didn't care whether he lost that $50 million or not. So maybe Deontay Wilder got a connection with Warren Buffett, and he out there tapping into this endless money. But that being said, I think because Deontay Wilder really feels that, you know, he deserves to make 15, 20 million a fight. I really think that's affected him fighting this year and definitely making that fight with Andy Ruiz. You know, definitely. I'm going to be honest with you. When I sit back and look at it, really sit back and look at Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz. Because Ruiz hasn't fought in a while as well. But it just makes you wonder, like Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder that fight probably deserved to be I'm trying to take the emotion out of it, right? Maybe that fight should have been a 50-50 split. Because what has Deontay Wilder done? What has Andy Ruiz done? Andy Ruiz has come back. He's had 2 fights, which he's won. He didn't look that great against Chris Arreola, but he did the business and got the win. He fought Luis Ortiz. He did some damage to Ortiz, but I think Ortiz never the same as far as his punch resistance after fighting Wilder. But Ortiz had great moments in that fight too. But then you come and look at Deontay Wilder. You know, he has 3 fights with Tyson Fury. He made a lot of money across those 3 fights. Then he fought Helenius. I don't know how much money he made for Helenius. See, that's one of the sticking points. I'm not sure how much money Deontay Wilder made. But I'll tell you this. As far as who they fought and what they've done in the ring and inactivity, I just, when I look at it from that perspective, I don't see what Wilder deserves more than 50-50. But when I look at the money they've been making over the last 3-4 fights, I think Deontay Wilder definitely deserves the lion's share. This 75-25 split, I don't know about that. Look, Deontay Wilder doesn't have no damn title. You know what I'm saying? As much as because initially I was like, shit, Deontay Wilder deserves an 80-20 split. But when I look at Helenius, he clipped Kanaki twice. And that meant a lot to me. I was like, wow, that carries some weight. You know, Kaneki was on his way, and Helenius stopped all that. But then now you see Wilder knocked out Helenius, AJ knocking out Helenius. I'm like, damn, Andy Ruiz would probably knock out Helenius too. So I just think this whole thing about this money and entitled to the money, entitled to be the A side, and I just think that's something that I'm not so sure has been earned by Deontay Wilder. Now that's just my 2 cents. Now there was a time where but right now no, he's not active, man. You know, you just can't do that. It's like me, okay? I've been retired for 4 years, 4.5 years, and I've looked into a couple different positions, but I'm gonna tell you, man. You know what? As far as my market value when I first retired, was through the roof. But I've been kind of out of it for a while, focusing on my little ones, and hey, some people are interested, but as far as that price point, my market value, what it was that first year I retired, it's not that now after being 4 years removed from the workforce. So I think it's the same thing with these boxers, man. If you're not active, you're not showing people, man, that, hey, this is what I can do. I think that's what happens. I think your market value starts to plummet a bit. So it is what it is. But anyway, it goes back to just fighters being largely inactive due to matters beyond their control. But in Deontay Wilder's case, there's a whole lot within his control. He's just choosing not to fight because he's trying to wait and cash out. Was trying to wait and cash out on a big fight against Ruiz, then going into a huge fight against AJ. And it didn't work out for Ruiz and didn't work out for AJ. And that sucks. But the truth about what I'm saying is just, Keith Thurman as well, Danny Garcia, Andy Ruiz falls in that boat in the water, man, and even Tyson Fury, when you look at, facing solid competition, right? Frequently and as often as possible. Has Deontay Wilder done that? Has Keith Thurman done that? Has Danny Garcia done that? Has Andy Ruiz done that? And even Tyson Fury. Have they been facing solid competition, often? Let's be honest now. Now, there are some that some people feel have a valid excuse just for not doing that. But not all of them do, okay? Not all of them do, and everyone knows that. Even if you're a fan of some of these fighters, you guys, look, everyone's becoming aware of the fact that some of these guys risk fading from prominence, man. If they haven't already faded, they don't want to take a loss, because if they do, then they're no longer the show pony. They're no longer the person being spoken about. Now, when we start talking about Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, look, you can't talk about those two guys unless you talk about right now what's going on in the welterweight division with Terrence Crawford. The undisputed, man, welterweight champ of the world. Now, he's been active. I don't care what you say, man. Terrence Crawford, man, he's the undisputed champion, man, and he has been active, and he went off on, I just did a video on it last night. He went off on Thurman and Garcia. He really did, saying that, look, I'm not going to give you guys an opportunity. He called him out. It's very disrespectful, but, it is what it is. It's boxing. Those guys go at each other. Called him, holes, talking about how there was a time where he was, basically trying to get his foot in the door of being up there with the elite fighters, welterweight fighters, and how nobody wanted to give him an opportunity. And he's just basically saying, now look, you guys want to come fight me now for all the marbles and the 4-for-1 deal, 3-for-1 deal. He's like, nah, let's go keep fighting each other like y'all were doing before. Why you need me now? And I know Terrence Crawford, when it comes to Keith Thurman and Garcia, I know he had some frustration there, and I did another video about Terrence Crawford needs to find peace, because he's just angry, man. But I can't blame him for being a bit frustrated and wanting to rub it in their face like, look at me now. And his post was bitter and vulgar, in my opinion. But I just think Crawford just wants to make sure everyone knows that this separation between him and a guy like Danny Garcia, who fought 5 times in the past 5 years, and Thurman, who fought 3 times in the last 5 years. Now that's crazy when you think about Danny Garcia fought 5 times in 5 years. When they say on average for fighters to really stay sharp, they should be fighting 2 to 3 times a year. So let's just say 10 times. Let's say, to be fair, twice a year, 5 years, 10 times. Danny Garcia's fought half of that. Keith Thurman, twice a year or 5 years, 10 times. He's fought like a third of that, man. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But Terrence Crawford has every right to sit there and put them on blast. Now, it's not that Thurman and Danny Garcia, right? Although I think they're inactive, I think they're just looking for paydays. Thurman, who knows what he'll do, but there have been the rumors of him he would fight Terrence Crawford before, but he wanted $10 million. That's something Bob Arum went on record and said, and he's just not giving him that kind of money. So in a sense, some people said Thurman was trying to cash himself out. But if you look at it now, right, Thurman and Garcia, they aren't or weren't bums. They were, and I would even say are. I would say they were at one time excellent fighters. And their resumes show it, you know what I'm saying? They were very active, fighting a little bit of everybody. Danny Garcia may have cherry-picked a little bit, but he did get in there and fight some big names. He got some big wins, and he got in there with Sean Porter. He got in there with Keith Thurman, and they mixed some things up, and, it was just a tough fight for those guys. And Danny Garcia... Did Danny Garcia fight Sean Porter? He fought, yeah, he did. He fought Spence. He fought Thurman. I think man, my brain is bad. Let me pull this up real quick. I think Danny Garcia fought Sean Porter. Let me check. See, man, this is letting you know, man. I can't. Danny Garcia hasn't fought in so damn long. I can't remember if he fought Sean Porter or not. I honestly can't remember if he fought him or not. That's crazy. Danny Garcia, did he? Let me pull it up. I need to figure this out with the quickness, man, because I honestly can't remember if he fought Sean Porter. I'm pulling something up while I'm talking to you. Okay, here he goes right here. Let me see what's going on with him. So he fought Benavidez Jr. last, then Spence, then he fought Red Catch and almost killed him. Granados, then Sean Porter. That's right. He fought Sean Porter and he lost to him. That's what I thought. I was like, damn, I know he fought. So Danny Garcia fought, all of them. The only person he didn't fight was Terrence Crawford, but he fought him in the amateurs. But the bottom line is, he and Crawford, they had pretty solid resumes. But right now they just seem to be like part-time boxers. And the reality is they may never ever fight in a main event again. And when I say main event, I'm talking about the main event, the status of what they were doing before, like when they were mixing it up, the Porters, the Thurman and Garcia, those matches that were being made, those were main events. Those were fights. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what, they still feel they're entitled to something that they don't deserve. They do. That's why Danny Garcia is sitting here talking about he's not going to fight this person and that person. It's got to make sense financially. Well, man, your market value has plummeted. You're still coming out here thinking, here we're going to give you the $6, $7, $8 million and $2 million under the table deal. That's over. That the money's just not there anymore. So I'm just not sure that these guys are so ignorant that they don't realize that they're far from the examples of being an active fighter. They represent what an inactive fighter looks like. But they're gonna play the game so they can get paid the most money whenever they do decide to come out of retirement and fight. So for me, it's frustrating to watch this because you got a guy like Boots Ennis who's trying to stay active, who's young and hungry. You get guys like Cody Crowley who's trying to stay active, young and hungry. I don't know what happened to Boots here. Blair Cobb wants to fight. He can't get a fight. So you got these guys whose names are known but not as big as the Thurmans and Garcias who want to fight, who want to be active. You know what I'm saying? They're chomping at the bit, but they just can't get the opportunities. And they're not worried about no big money. They just want to fight. But they can't get the opportunities. The Boots Ennis is the only one out of that mix who seems to be getting opportunities. But the other ones, I don't understand what the issue is. But I know there's things that go on behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia have more opportunity to fight more often than these other fighters who want to fight and don't have the opportunities. And it's frustrating. So as far as them not getting the money they think they deserve and everything else, I don't think they deserved it either. They got to earn it, man. And there was a point in time in their career where they were doing that. I'm not seeing it right now. The fact that Danny Garcia is trying to fight at some weird catchweight with Arizona De Lara, that way he can pick up another title even though it's not fighting at the actual weight. That's crazy to me. But it just shows you how the secret society works. And when they want somebody to win a fight and someone to get a title, they're going to do what they have to do. Okay? But now, we talked about Wilder, we talked about Keith Thurman, we talked about Danny Garcia, talking about these guys, being part-time fighters and Deontay Wilder making bad choices as far as choosing to stay inactive when he probably should have been fighting, just like AJ was staying busy fighting. You got, and people actually miss this, but Andy Ruiz, right? He is the former WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight champion. He had that distinction. It's just you blinked and it was gone. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is what's crazy about Andy Ruiz. I mean, I think it's like last year sometime, if I remember. Let me see. Yeah, he had an opportunity to fight Tyson Fury. But the rumors were he wanted some crazy amount of money, like $20 million, man. Something ridiculous. And this is where I say, Andy Ruiz is taking it to the stupid. Because when you look at, Wilder hasn't fought since last December. Ruiz not fighting in over a year. And then Tyson Fury not fighting since December, right? And he got something coming up, though, with Francis Ngannou. So Tyson Fury is still doing what he has to do. But you look at Andy Ruiz. He could have fought Tyson Fury. Even if he lost, he would have made a few million, okay? And then he could have came back and fought Deontay Wilder. Made a few million. Andy Ruiz could have been sitting on a little $5 million across those two fights if he would have went out there and chose to stay active. But no, he's trying, like Andy Ruiz was kind of sitting back and hoping to land the one fight to pay him, more life-changing money. The same thing Deontay Wilder's kind of doing, sitting back, waiting to land the AJ fight and make life-changing money with the Saudis' involvement. But unfortunately, it just hasn't happened for him. And I know it's a big deal when Andy Ruiz did beating AJ. The first, it is what it is. He's born in the U.S., but he's Mexican. So let's just say the first Mexican heavyweight champion, right? That carries a lot of weight. But as far as him and going into negotiations and trying to get $20 million from Fury, not going to happen. Coming out here with Deontay Wilder demanding $10 million. Not going to happen. I definitely think he deserved more than a 25% split when I really look at it. But at the end of the day, this whole thing about $10 million, I don't know where the hell he's getting that number from, and I'm just being real. But it's unfortunate because when you get guys like Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, I don't see why we're going to sit them in a category different from Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury comes out and says he no longer wants to fight high-level competition, right? He doesn't want to do it. I mean, that's almost the same thing as Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz out here saying if they fight, they want to make X amount of money. Well, that tells me you don't have an interest in facing high-level competition either. Your interest is just getting a high-level payday. And that's just not how this works. So the bottom line is, this money from big time fights or novelty fights, right? It's just ridiculous, man. It's amazing, and you can't blame someone like Tyson Fury for wanting to fight Ngannou or John Jones. Deontay Wilder is trying to get to Ngannou. I don't know why that fight didn't happen, but that fight probably should have happened for Deontay Wilder. But to be honest with you, I just think it goes back to what I was saying about fighters not wanting to risk a loss. Because if you take a loss, it doesn't matter who you lose to, well, you kind of fall from prominence. And I really think that's the issue here for some of these guys. Now, we know Tyson Fury is going to be fighting Ngannou, but you just don't know when Fury's saying he doesn't want to fight Usyk. It's not a priority. He's not worried about fighting any of these boxers. He's looking at making the biggest fights against the big boys. Look. We know he's just known to shoot off his mouth. And when he says the big boys, he's talking about anyone outside of boxing. That'd be an easy win for him, but with the most amount of money on the return. So you just don't know when Tyson Fury is serious or blowing smoke, because he says so much. Even Francis Ngannou said that Tyson Fury acts strange. But one thing's for sure, Tyson Fury's attitude is, in my opinion, it just kind of shows a persistent problem that's been kind of lingering in boxing for quite some time. When someone doesn't have to do it, they don't have to do it. You listen to Danny Garcia, I'm rich. I don't need to fight you. I've been making millions. You see what I'm saying? But I ain't trying to pay those sanctioning fees. I don't disagree with that. But this goes back to these guys and the mentality and the attitude. You know, they're just not, some of these guys just not going to get in the ring unless they're getting huge money. But to me, you got to stay active to get the huge paydays. Unless you're Canelo, I'll tell you what, if De La Hoya came back, for some reason chose to come out of retirement and come back to a fight, De La Hoya would come right back and probably make $40 million. Simple. But De La Hoya was a guy who fought any and everybody and was knocking people out, man. Okay? So he was the definition of what an active fighter was. These guys like Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Wilder, Andy Ruiz, they're not in the same category with no Oscar De La Hoya. And they never will be. Period. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm telling you, there's no way in the world you can put them in a category with Oscar De La Hoya. Especially with the crap that's going on right now with these guys in their careers. You just can't do it. But it all boils down, in my opinion, is just when guys start making money, to me it's like a shallowness, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to fight you. I'm rich. I have this. If I'm going to fight somebody now, it's not about me staying active anymore. It's about me cherry picking. And who's the fight I can get? Okay, big name. All right, cool. But the payday. It's not even about the name and legacy, but they still feel they deserve to get the huge payday. If Danny Garcia was to fight Terrence Crawford, let's say he'd want 10, 15 million. But if he's going to go out here and fight Arizona De Lara, he's going to want that kind of money too. That's just what it is. It feels he's entitled to those kind of paydays no matter who they fight. And that's just not the case. And Thurman, talk about guys not being a major player. Danny Garcia is not a major player anymore. Period. And Thurman, for sure, isn't a key player. But Thurman's name, I still think, is a bigger name than Danny Garcia's. And I'm being honest with you, because no one has taken a belt from Keith Thurman. And the only one to beat Keith Thurman was Pacquiao. And some people felt Thurman won that fight. And Pacquiao did knock him down, but he did step on his foot too. But he knocked him down. But I think Thurman, if we're talking about someone who feels entitled to something they don't deserve, I think Thurman as well, just like all the other 4 names, I think it applies to him. But I think with Thurman, it's a little bit different because, you know, he got married, he had the wife and had kids. She's from another country, and he got to focus on family. But he chose to be inactive. He could have fought a little more, but I understand transitioning your wife to here to the U.S. But the one thing about Keith Thurman is no one has, the Crawfords haven't beat him, Danny Garcia hasn't beat him, Spence hasn't beat him, Porter. No one's really beat Crawford. Pacquiao barely got away with that win. And Pacquiao was damaged after that Keith Thurman fight. Badly damaged. So the thing is with Keith Thurman, I think Keith Thurman probably is entitled to more than Danny Garcia. I'll put it to you like that. Okay? And then when you're talking about, Ruiz, Wilder, and Fury, I think Ruiz is already getting marginalized. If you look at how the WBC did him, they bubbled him all the way down to like 5 or 6. So Andrew Ruiz is already on his way being forced out of boxing. Deontay Wilder, if he doesn't do something soon, I think Deontay Wilder is going to find himself being marginalized and out of boxing because you got to fight. And Tyson Fury, I don't think anything's going to happen to Tyson Fury because the WBC is right there in cahoots with him. They're rolling with Tyson Fury. As long as the WBC is getting their little piece of money, which I believe there's some secret society stuff going on when it comes to the WBC and seeing how they allow certain fighters to go and not fight or take these fights or have fighters end up in position to fight for their belts when they probably didn't really earn it. Or how they're able to block undisputed distinctions because they have their own agenda. And, when you watch what goes on with that WBC, man, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Fury gets to go 2-3 more years without defending his WBC strap, as long as he's fighting these big, notable fights and the WBC is involved with it. Because it's all about the sanctioning fee. If a sanctioning body is not getting mad at a fighter not defending his belt, they got to be getting money somehow. So just open up your minds a bit. That's how you understand how some of these things happen. That's how you explain it. Sanctioning bodies, that belt is for them to make money. And if they're not forcing someone to defend that belt, you better believe they're making money. There's some other way of making money off of that fighter. But that being said, fans will start to lose memories of some of the skills and some of the things these fighters have done if they don't stay active. You fall off the radar. And it's going to happen to everybody at some point in time. But right now, seeing these guys here who just don't want to stay active and continue to really try to push up the ranks or, stay sharp. It to me is frustrating. But that being said, man, y'all keep cool. Let's see how this goes because I truly believe these inactive fighters, Deontay Wilder, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, and Andy Ruiz, hey, those guys not being able to get the fights and get the paydays they want, their choice, their consequence. They created their own misery, man. Can't be out here blaming people for you not fighting and you not making the money you want. Quit sitting here trying to hold out for a handout, man. Get out here and keep putting in the work. Because I tell you what, the ship will sail with or without you. And if you're not fighting, that ship's going to sail without you and leave you right where you're at, which is what's happening to these guys right now. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I just don't feel they deserve what they think they deserve unless they get active. I'm in the breeze.